Well, what's up? Greetings, everybody. How's it going? It's good to see you. It's Friday. Come on in. Welcome to the Chief Chat for November 15th, 2019. So much to share, so much to tell. We got a good show for you today. I appreciate you being here. What's up, Frank? Good to see you. Bob, Brett, my man. Alex, hi. Hi, Angela. Angela's in the hot seat today. And this is good. This is a different kind of hot seat. We're going to look at her proposal. She has maybe her first copywriting client or one of her first copywriting clients. And we're going to look at her proposal. And I'm going to bring on my great friend, my co-coach, Rachel Mazza, who is very good at helping us position ourselves with clients, with prospects, and write proposals. And so I'm excited to bring Rachel on, and we will look at Angela's proposal and give her any tips and help her go land this deal. So thank you, Angela, for being in the hot seat today. Good to see everybody. Nice big full house today. So just say hello real quick. Yeah, everybody's saying hi. You're all ahead of me. Fantastic. Good to see everybody. We're going to talk about some cool stuff today. Of course, this is our first Chief Chat since Copy Chief Live just a couple of weeks ago. And do me a favor, say yes or hell yeah or something if you were at Copy Chief and you are here on the, and you are here. Yeah. Good to see Angela was there. And Carrie Carr. You should see Carrie Carr dance. What do we call that? Is that a jitterbug? What was happening there? That kind of, man, that was great, Carrie. That was Charleston, fantastic, jitterbug. I don't know my dances, but man, it was so cool to see you dance. And we had this great dance party starring Tim Wu. My buddy Chris was out there, and we all hopped around and just had the time of our lives, man, at the party. The event was, I got to tell you something. This is the third one. And I don't know if it's because it's the third one and we're just getting better at doing them every year. I think they've all been pretty epic. Each one unique unto itself. But wouldn't you all say, like, this one, man, like something was happening. Like there was an energy to this one that, man, I don't know, man, like people felt it, like really felt it. And I'm trying to, like, I'm getting these incredible letters and notes from people post-event about all kinds of topics. Some people had these, amazing wins. And just our friend Jake just posted today, if you saw in the Facebook group, the Copy Chief Live Facebook group, put into action something he saw James Schramko talk about. $240,000 in revenue from that one thing that he got from James's talk. $240K in revenue from one thing he got in James Schramko's talk. Crazy, right? So the content was as good as ever. Even does Bailey here. Bailey sent me this great note about kind of breaking down how the content built for him and felt almost like a not a sales letter, but like a sales message of I like to call it maybe more like a compounding set of ideas that lead to the big picture of what I wanted to give you from the event, what I hoped you would take from it. But really, as I told Bailey, I'm not just trying to, push off a compliment. I'm saying, like, man, it's like wisdom is in the eyes of the beholder, right? Like, you have to have an openness, a readiness, a willingness to want to learn and show up and be plugged in. And then all these little light bulbs start going off and you have this bigger picture, right? I can only provide, yeah, sure. Like, I wanted it to lay out that way. And I thought about, why am I putting Todd Herman up first? Of course, that was purposeful. We had Rhonda Britton last year in sort of that, what I would call the mindset spot of the events. Let's just get us all thinking about bigger picture and what we want from this. And just Bailey wrote this great thing about how it all kind of stacked from there with each speaker, right? But more than that, I think it's that, I don't know. I think maybe because it's the third one that you guys are trusting more when you show up. I heard from a lot of people who it was a big deal for them to show up, and we know that it is every year. And we talk more and more about this. That look, we're writers, we're introverts. It is not easy for us to leave our warm cocoon where we can, frankly, we can get it done right here in our little space, man. Like we can run a career out of this. When I started as a freelancer, I was literally working in the back porch of my house, and I had this, it was so hot back there. It was like literally an aluminum room with a concrete floor. That's it. Right. And some windows. And so the sun would beat in, and it was excruciatingly hot. You ever see Cool Hand Luke, where what we have here is a failure to communicate? And then they put him in the hot box. And basically, that was my office, my first office. And so I overcompensated and bought like this giant window unit air conditioner, right? And because it was in an aluminum window, like it would come on, it would just rattle the whole cage I was in. And it would click on, and people would say, "What is that? Did an airplane just land in your yard?" And so, but I was so happy in there, like just learning copy and doing copy and getting my first gigs, and like that was it, man. That was the impetus of all of it, and it's easy to stay there. It's easy to go, all right, well, this is my world. And I know a lot of writers who don't come out of the house much. So I know it's not easy for you to get yourself committed. Buying that ticket is more than just a few $100s to say, I'm going to go do this thing. It's like, man, I got to face a lot of unknowns. I hope these people are actually cool, like Kevin keeps promising. And nobody treats me bad, or I hope I don't end up feeling like ignored or disconnected, or, you know what I mean? A lot of risk, a lot of vulnerability for us to get up, get out, and come ready to play. But man, I think that's what contributed to the intangible energy of this event. Like you guys showed up with open minds and trust and willing to be vulnerable in hopes of, a big result. And what's amazing about our community is that all it takes is walking in the door, right? I cannot imagine that 15 to 20 minutes would go by when you walk into that hotel for this event where you don't immediately get embraced, if not physically engaged positively, recognized by one of our amazing volunteers, Alex, Angie, Lindsay, Joshua, everybody, Laura and Mary were there this year. And, Jimmy Parent kind of showed up once in a while. Is Jimmy here? Jimmy's like, yeah, man, I might pop in. He's not here, of course. He's like, busy taking over the world. Oh yeah, Jimmy was sick. All right, I'll buy that. I love Jimmy. Jimmy was, he was sick. So he was a trooper, and he was not trying to not get other people sick. And so that was courteous of him. By the way, Lindsay was sick the first day when we were setting up, and took oregano extract. That is my secret weapon, by the way. I'm not a doctor. This is not a medical claim. But if you feel like you're coming down with something, try taking some oregano extract. I've taken them, and you wake up the next day like, okay, wow, that was a bad dream. I feel almost 100% better. It's incredible. But check with your doctor and do all those things. I'm not here to give you medical advice. I'm just saying I've taken them and it's worked, and other people have taken them. And so it worked really well for Lindsay. And anyway, point being, everybody showed up to play and had a great time. Within 30 minutes of walking in the door, you will just feel like, these are my people. I'm having more fun than I even expected. The thing hasn't even started yet. and it just goes on from there. I don't know if you had a chance to see the video. We'll post it inside a Copy Chief here. But my friend Chris, our videographer, did the 2-minute recap, what we call the sizzle reel. And it's just a thing of beauty. He really understands this event and our hearts, and really captures it and puts it into a 2-minute recap of the event. And man, to watch it, just like, it's like next year cannot get here fast enough. So on that note, I will know the dates to Copy Chief Live very soon, once I secure the space with the hotel. If we're not at the Hilton again, we will be somewhere else here in town, because we get to own this town for that week. And so many of you know your way around now. It's great to have it here in St. Pete. But I want to explore opportunities to always make things better. So I'm looking into some different possibilities, and it will be late October again. I liked it, man. I wish the weather would have been a little better. I thought maybe the weather would break. Like the minute it was over, the weather broke and it got nice, and it's been cool here at night. But my goodness, it was blazing hot. Still here in Florida, and now it's nice. So anyway, so do me a favor. Like if you were here, we're going to do best things today. And if you were at the event, I'd love to hear a couple of you give your best thing from Copy Chief Live. What was just the one thing, maybe, like Jake, he obviously took something, was able in a position to implement it immediately into his business, and see $250,000 in revenue shoot back at him within a week. That's incredible. But, was there one single moment, one single message from a speaker, one single interaction with a member, with one of your copywriting heroes, with whatever it was? It could have been the smallest thing. Give us a small moment that maybe had a big impact. Let's call it that, a small moment that had a big impact. And I'd love to hear from you what it was, and let's just talk about it. So raise your hand for me if you'd love to come on and do a best thing from Copy Chief Live, and we'll do that. So cool. All right. Keith. Yeah. Awesome. Armin. Awesome. John. Okay, cool. We'll go with you three. And, Brett. Oh, wow. Lots of people. Okay. Well, real quick, I want to, we'll come back to that and we'll do all those. That'll be fantastic. So real quick, I just want to talk about one other thing during the Chief Chat here today. And that's this idea of asking for stuff and getting it. I don't know if you saw an email I sent out a couple of weeks ago. It was the Sunday before Copy Chief Live. And I think that was in fact, I have it right here. Let me just share. This is my email. You guys get to see my email. Hope there's nothing weird going on here. How to ask for something big and get it. Yeah. And this is interesting. Like, how themes this is a great thing about doing, authority content, like having dialogue with the audience, is that these themes emerge. And so I won't read this whole thing, but if you saw this email, if you got me foldered somewhere, I would look this one up. It's worth kind of reading. It's a story of a guy that I called Tom, because I did not want to expose his identity. I want to respect his privacy. We know it's a him. And Tom wrote to me about the event, and I go through the conversation we had back and forth. And the thing that really struck me, it was just a cool thing how it all went down. He essentially said to me, look, I'm really inspired to be at Copy Chief Live, but I'm not able to buy a ticket right now for whatever reason. It's just not an option for me, but I'm unthwarted, and I'm going to come to St. Petersburg, and I'm going to be there, and I'm not trying to crash your event, but I am making myself available to you. My goal is to provide value and, find a way to belong at this event. And, could I volunteer? Surely you could use an extra set of hands. Events are a big thing to put on and everything, right? And this really touched me, because that's exactly the position I was in the first time I met John Carlton. It's very similar to what I wrote to John. The difference is, unlike Tom, I told a little white lie. I said, "Hey, man, it just so happens I'm going to be in Chicago when you're holding that hot seat event at $5,000 a ticket that I couldn't afford a seat to." I didn't say that. I was just like, "But man, if you need any help at the event, I'm free that day. I could hold a clipboard or do whatever." And I was shocked that John was like, "Yeah, that'd be great. Come hang out, and Dean Jackson will be there." And it was life changing. And so I loved Tom's intent. And man, the thing is, when you're asking for something, it's so much what you don't say as much as what you do say. He never said, "Can I get a free ticket?" He never said, "Hey, man, I'm having a difficult time, but I know this could change my life. And if you'd only see it in your heart." He didn't do any of that more sort of like obvious stuff. And I'm not even saying there's anything wrong with that. But there's what always inspires me, and what the whole point of Copy Chief and Copy Chief Live is, taking people who have discovered an ability to write persuasively and to communicate persuasively and put that on display, right? And show up and be a part of this conversation, that this is what we do. This is a part of this industry where that is essentially the skill we need. Why these companies come to want to meet the writers and hopefully hire the writers and make these job offers, because whether you're new at this or whether you've been at this for years, it's not so much how good can you write. This isn't fiction writing, right? It's, do you have that sort of instinctive ability to communicate persuasively? And that's what I saw in this exchange back and forth with the man we'll call Tom. And got to the point where I was inspired to invite him to be my guest at the event. And very glad I did that, because like everybody else, he showed up fully. He engaged fully. He's done an amazing job of following up with the opportunities. I believe he's in the running for one of the coveted jobs with Traffic and Funnels. And I couldn't have more excitement for him and the opportunities he's creating for himself by skillfully reaching out and asking for something that he otherwise couldn't have. And it just so happened that and I'll let them, it's up to you if they want to out themselves. They don't need to, because it's a private thing they're doing. And someday maybe we'll do a whole case study about it. It'd be cool to have the punchline of how this really can affect his life and help him transition out of the situation he's in. But then, so here I am after the event. I go to Paris. And I say that flippantly, like, of course I jet off to Paris. I don't, it was a privilege to go to Paris. My wife and I have been married 20 years. We're celebrating our anniversary. We never had a honeymoon, we eloped. We just got going with life. She sometimes says that we honeymooned in the Dells, the Wisconsin Dells, to which I say, please, honey, never say that. Not to be, an asshole, but, and I'm sure many people have had lovely honeymoons in the Dells, but I just always in my mind wanted to give her a little more grandiose time. And we did go to the Dells after our wedding and spend a lovely weekend by the lake. But I always thought, what if I could give her Paris? What if I could give her Italy? What if I could? And it took 20 years, man. It took 20 years. And frankly, it took 20 years and profit first. Tip of the hat to Mike Michalowicz to allow me to very confidently say to my wife, hey, our 20th is coming up. Let's go to Paris. Let's go spend 4 nights in Paris together. And we did. And it was magical. Whenever you give yourself up to travel, like we've been talking about, who knows what the hell is waiting for you out there, right? You never see people having more of a nightmare in their life often than in the airport or a bus station, when like everything's gone completely haywire. Flights can change and get canceled, and you get stuck places, and all kinds of horrible crap can happen to you when you travel. But sometimes like the universe just aligns and goes, oh, you guys are having an anniversary. Let us make everything beautiful for you. Wouldn't that be great? But part of it was that we had no plan. Like I didn't know anything about Paris. We didn't do any research. We just, of course, knew it would be amazing. But I don't know the history of France, like I wish I did. And I showed up ignorant, ready to just have this experience. And so we did that, and turns out, the hotel was amazing. The restaurant in the hotel, the cafe in the hotel was amazing. The bar in the hotel was an herbatorium, which is a thing I've never seen before. And everything was perfect, right? We're sleeping in every day. We're just walking in any direction that feels right to us. And we're discovering the city on our own terms, as if we were the first people to ever have this idea. And so, one thing I wanted, though, the one plan I made was my favorite new band. They're called the Black Pumas. Black Pumas. Look them up if you like good music. They remind me of an old school soul band. The singer reminds me like of Al Green, and they're just super cool and funky and I don't know, they're just great. The Black Pumas, man. And they're playing in Paris while we're there. What are the chances? So that was my one mission. I'm like, we have to be in the show. I don't know how we're going to do it. It's sold out. It was already sold out when I even saw that they were playing there. Small club, sold out. And I didn't want to be the pushy American and just show up there and go, who's willing to give up a ticket? I didn't know. I was like, how am I going to handle this with a plum? So I'm just basically looking at any avenue where I can get in a side door, or find a ticket somehow. So I'm reaching out. My friend Sue Rice lives in France, and it's like, do you know anybody at this club? My friend Tom Rhodes, who's a comic who's played Paris many times. Do you ever play this club? Do you have any connections there? Guy I met on the plane. I'm like, can you, nobody can help me. It's sold out. I'm locked out. It ain't happening. Right. And so maybe I'm inspired by Tom. I say, well, what if I just go straight to the source and try my luck. Right. So I go to the Black Pumas Facebook page. I click message and I write, let me just share with you the exchange. I think this will be insightful. Because what's interesting about it is it's nothing elaborate at all, right? It was really kind of spur of the moment. But again, being wanting to be persuasive, those copywriting skills are always with us. It was more about what do I make sure I don't say than what I do say, right? I don't want to come off like a creep or pushy or expecting anything. And so, there we go. Cool. Oh, look, this is Rachel Kraft. Rachel Kraft doing authority content. How great is that? Awesome, Rachel. By the way, Rachel, I just recorded our podcast yesterday together, and it will go live Tuesday. How's that for a quick turnaround? So listen for Rachel there. That's awesome. All right. So here's what I wrote to them. I said, hey, big fan from the States. I've been turning all my music loving friends onto you and they become instant fans, which is true. But again, I wanted to provide some value, let you know I've been out here ringing your bell. My wife and I are in Paris and saw you are playing tomorrow, but it's sold out. Any insight to tickets? It would be magnificent to see your show here. Response I get is, oh no, it looks like all tickets are sold out for that one, but we do have a date in Paris in February on sale if you are able to make that one. To which I say, thanks, but we go home to Florida on Sunday. We are here celebrating our 20th anniversary. Any Florida dates coming up, right? So now my thought was, well, let them know that it just so happens isn't this kind of amazing that we're here celebrating our 20th anniversary? You're playing here. I love this band. But let me not push for that. Let me just say, any Florida dates coming up. Okay, fine. I'll let it go. And I just want to see the band. That's my true intention, right? So they say not yet, but we will be sure to let everyone know when we do Emily management. Now, this is where it was supposed to end, because she's like, all right, didn't work out. Good luck to you. Thanks for being a fan, whatever. So I say, thanks. I'm not giving up on tomorrow night just yet. Really love this band. Just letting her know, I'm not giving up hope. I'm not satisfied with the idea that maybe I'll see this band someday. I want to see them while I'm in Paris. There's got to be a way, right? I'm just like leaving that glimmer of, please, that kind of hope. And then listen to this. So that is 3:04 p.m. on the 7th. Oh wow, November 7th again. Yeah, so this is I guess only an hour later, right? Hey Kevin, we just spoke with our tour manager and it looks like we had a couple spots open up for this one, so we're going to put your name +1 on the guest list for the Paris show at La Bleu Noir. That's great French, isn't it? Means the black ball. Tomorrow evening, enjoy celebrating your anniversary. What? I mean, I was flabbergasted. Honestly, I read that we were sitting at another jazz club, and then I just said thank you so much. And then later, she said thank you. You're welcome. Sent her pictures of me, and by the way, met some of the band members, and they were all so thrilled at this story, and they knew Emily, and they said, we're going to thank Emily. Like, so cool that she did that for you. Like, it just was, it was a feel good thing all the way around. Right. It was just, it was funny because it was getting to the point where I think this was going to be the one point of contention on this amazing trip to Paris, where Michelle was starting to go, listen, like, why are we going to go there? Like, what are you going to do? Like, starting to like maybe like dial it back. This is becoming an obsession. And I'll tell you what, having gone to the show, there's no way. Like, there was just a line of people out the door. The club was all about the show. Go in, go out. I wasn't going to like try to scalp tickets or wave euros around, or, you know what I mean? We weren't getting in. So this was it was like really just this amazing gift. And the show was everything I thought it would be. It was like so few times something appears before you in reality the way it lived in your head as a fantasy. And the show was that. The band was incredible. The atmosphere was incredible. It was just so cool. And so here's two instances of people wanting something they can't have for whatever reason, for whatever circumstance in their life has brought them to this moment where something's keeping them from what they want. And how do you ask for it? It's as much what you don't say, and how do you not come off desperate or too aggressive or pushy or assumptuous, in just be cool and say, here's my intention. Here's my intention for what I want. And if you see a reason to help me, I would love to receive your help. Right. So I don't know. It's persuasive communication on display. And thank you to Emily from Black Puma's management. And I'll tell you what, that is how a good band becomes a big band. This band is selling out every date they book. I hope they break. I hope they make another great record and just become this big band, because they're not the typical genre of what becomes a big band anymore, right? So it'd just be cool to see a really good band just grow and take over the world. And treating your fans like that is how you get that done. So anyway, I wanted to share that. Super cool. Let's get some best things, and then we'll get Angela on here, and we'll look at her proposal, and we'll get Rachel on here, and we'll look at her proposal. We got a lot of. I don't know if we'll get to all these. Can we put a timer on these? I hate to limit these because they're going to be also amazing. But I'm going to try to just because I want to hear from everybody. So let's try to keep them to like 3 minutes. All right. So the format for a best thing is, in this case, we know at Copy Chief Live, this thing happened. Here was the source of it. It was particularly meaningful to me because of this thing happening in my life or my business right now. And then we end with an if-then statement, if we can say, so if you're in the situation like me, then try what I heard from this or what I experienced or what I did and see if it doesn't help you. All right. John Pakel. Let's talk to John. See if John's wearing a hat. John's a hat guy like myself.
Get this going.
What's up, John?
Okay. No, hey, Kevin. No hat today. It's too cold here in Michigan.
Too cold for a hat.
Yeah. The best thing that happened to me actually started a year and a half before the event. I met Trevor Toecracker Crook in Vegas at the Bond and Kevin Halbert birthday celebration for their dad. And I didn't realize then, I had no idea who he was. I thought I knew all the A-list copywriters, all the great ones. And there's just Trevor just telling his stories, being who he is. And we'd been in contact. I went to his event in Poland. We got able to spend a little time together. But the fact that I got to spend 2 meals with just him and me together and being able to gather his wisdom and experience and being able to get advice on how to proceed and different things like that, things that I got access to him, and it was just because I showed up at an event.
Yeah.
So if you think that events are expensive, try to become a great copywriter and not go to events because that's where you lose. It really is where you're going to meet the people, and you never know where those friendships or those mentorships really will come into place.
That's great. That's a great one, John. Yeah. That's the thing is, you know, you got to show up and kind of consistently go to a few, right? And and that's a bonding thing in itself, is having relationships form 2 or 3 days at a time over several months. And so what is the result of your relationship with Mr. Toecracker now? You guys are just becoming buddies, and he's you have an open line to him for advice, for guidance, that kind of thing?
Yeah. Yeah. And at some point there might be some formal mentorship that I take advantage of. I know it's out there, and it's just a question of me asking for that time. But right now I've got another mentor that I'm kind of working under.
Are we allowed to talk about this?
Yeah. If you want to talk about it, we can talk about it.
Well, why don't you just announce it? And then if you would, I would love for you to like bring us on this journey and give us the insights, because I'll let you tell it, but this is about as high up as it gets.
Okay. About a month ago, I got an email from Helen Buttery at AWAI saying that the job that I applied with them is not available. They hired someone else. But Mark Ford's looking for a copywriter. And if you don't know Mark Ford's name, just think Michael Masterson. He's the author of the course that AWI is founded on. And he's looking for a copywriter. Would you like your name thrown in? So after I picked myself up, gave myself smelling salts from passing out, I replied to the email and said, yes. You know, I might have said hell yes, but maybe not. And the Thursday before Copy Chief Live, he and I had a video conference, and he gave me what he's looking for. Would I still be interested? And I said, nothing you said has scared me. The Wednesday at Copy Chief Live, he responded with the writings that I submitted to him. He goes, you've got promise. I like the fact you write simple. I'll look for a job for you, and I'll be in touch with you next week after I get back from vacation. So he responded to me while he was on vacation.
Right.
And then last week, Thursday, I got the assignment from him, and I'm going to be ghostwriting an ebook for him. And the topic that he gave me is, well, let me put it this way. He gave me the topic, and immediately I went down into my garage where I had the majority of the books in my library in boxes because I'm getting ready to move. And I went in and I grabbed the books on that subject that I own personally. And there's about 20 books sitting here just to the left of me on that topic. So it was a topic that I absolutely loved.
Great.
And yesterday I sent an email, my thoughts of how I think the book would look. His response back, I like your ideas. They're really good. And he gave me a couple of suggestions, and he wanted me to go on to the next point. And the next point is simple. Just on 9 of the chapters, I have to write basically the headline and lead and a few paragraphs on those things. So I just got an order from Mark Ford to write 9 mini sales letters or chapters in a book. So
the guy who basically has mentored in some fashion, whether it's directly or trickle down, the highest grossing, most effective copywriters on the planet for the last 30 or 40 years, maybe.
Yeah.
Is now you're going to be working directly with.
Yeah.
Congratulations, bro. Like,
thank
really
you very
cool,
much.
man.
It's
and well deserved. And again, your spirit of showing up places, doing work, staying engaged, giving, right? None of that doesn't factor into this.
No,
I'm not going to say it's immediately because of it, because you also have to have talent and ability, but it all adds up, brother, to where you're at. And I hope this is just a springboard for you, man.
It absolutely is. Kevin, can I add one thing?
Sure.
Okay. This would not have happened without the friendships that I have from RFL 7. We're talking to each other 3 to 4 times a week, keeping each other challenged, keeping each other on board, pulling ourselves off the ledge when we're on the ledge. And we're on the ledge. Each of us are probably on the ledge at least once a week. And
who's done a ledge check today? Anybody do a ledge check?
So any of you RFL 7ers, this is a hat tip to you. And if you've never taken advantage of Kevin's RFL course, do it. Show up.
Thanks, John. Appreciate it, brother.
Not a problem.
Great stuff, man. Thanks for sharing.
Yep.
I can't wait. And man, start a thread, my Tuesdays with Mark or something. I don't know. Call it what you want, but
okay.
I can't wait to hear how this unfolds.
I'll do it. And I'm actually taking notes daily.
Yeah.
There might be a book on this, how I got to write with Mark Ford.
In what I learned, right? It's like, man, like that's the beauty thing. It's like, it's unknown right now. You can't even guess the things you'll learn that'll be surprising, right? So
yeah.
Awesome, John. Thank you, man.
Thanks, Kev.
Woo. All right. This could get really long. Sorry. It's so hard to not go deeper when somebody's got Keith, K-A-T, Mr. Tremmels. What's up, brother?
Oh, there we go. How you doing, Kev?
Good, man. How are you, buddy?
I'm doing awesome. This is going to turn out to be an RFL love fest here, I'm thinking,
All right. Fair enough. I'll take it.
All right. So we'll do this quick, try to get you back on schedule. So the biggest thing I learned actually was a continuation of learning from RFL 9. And that was the get over your bad self, Kevin thing. And, and embracing the authority. And anybody that knows me knows I prefer to be behind the scenes. And Cop Chief Live decided not to and just, see what happens, and ended up it changed the entire energy of the interactions with people that I already knew. I mean, folks like Aaron DeHogue and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And I was able to do the thing that I really enjoy, which was push other people to the front. So I was able to help out Patrick, one of our RFL 9 guys, and Rachel and I were able to do some stuff with Kelly and Angela, and over lunch. And the big pull away out of this is you spread that good stuff and embrace your authority, spread it out to the universe, and it comes back in ways you have no idea that it's coming back with. And just this week, matter of fact, just right before why I was late here, did a first podcast virgin here this morning, got taken, that I was asked by this woman to be on her podcast. So that's there. And then Bob Bly asked me earlier in the week, said, hey, you want to write a blurb for me for my new book that's coming out? And reached out to me. So I was able to do that, and out of the blue,
Wow.
amazing thing. So the takeaway is, if you're sitting there and you're on the fence, especially if you're at a live event, get over your bad self and just go out there and just do it.
I love it. Thank you, Keith. Beautiful, man. Talk soon.
All right.
So cool. What I take from that is, like you said, they changed the energy, right? Like he decided, okay, my default is to stay behind the scenes. I'm just going to show up here. And since I'm making the effort to go there, and by the way, it was kind of a last minute decision for Keith. He had to move some things around, or something changed and opened up the opportunity. He seized it. Again, none of these are easy decisions. We got to leave our families. We got to leave our responsibilities, and we got to show up somewhere and plug in. But he did it. And now what's the, you know what I mean? It's like, what's the boomerang thing? Everything you put out comes back to you, whether it's good or bad. So we have to do our best to put out good energy. And now Bob Bly is asking him to blurb his book and making new, opportunities. And it's amazing, man. Again, it's intangible. That's why it's really hard to sell an event for that reason, man. Like, how do you tell every story like this and just say, please just trust me and come here? Armin. Let's see what Armin's got for us. What's up, Armin?
Hey, how's it going?
Good, man. How are you?
Very good.
Oh, did I lose you? Oh, you might hit the wrong button. Sorry, Armin. I lost you. Let's go to Mike Lucas, and hopefully maybe if Armin can get back.
Let's see,
the other Kev.
hello? Kev?
Hi, Mike.
Yeah, are you there?
Yep, we're here.
Just I was just polishing up some stuff in my room.
Are you
Cleaning up some gifts I got from the kids.
Oh,
aren't you a dad? Are you a dad? I'm just curious. Are you a father?
I am a father. I have 2 kids. Yeah.
Okay, because there was a contest. I don't know if you know this.
Oh, I didn't know that. It looks like you might have been given a plaque.
Home the prize?
World's best dad. That's incredible. Of all the dads in all the world.
Yeah. Well, it shocked me when I got it. I don't know how they have access to it all, but
Congratulations.
It's made of white gold, and
is there some kind of award ceremony I can watch, maybe televised or some
we're
kind of,
going to be uploading it to their YouTube channel. Luckiest Kids in the World.
And did that sweater come with it, or how does that
this thing?
The killer rabbit, is that part of?
No, this is bonus, man. This is just what you get for.
That's part of what makes you the world's greatest.
Just for clicking in, you get this, pal. The award is that was funny when they gave that to me. I just I asked them that. I just asked them. I challenged them with the competition, and Dad, just take it. Shut up,
Dad. Please, it's
Why must you complicate?
Does it have to be a bit, Dad? We think you're great, okay?
All right. Yeah, it's sad when your kids are calling you needy. That's bad. and it's true. I had a best thing. I wanted to man. I just keep thinking about this from Copy Chief Live. James Schramko talking about the idea of what's the word he used? A talisman, or like some kind of a
totem.
Token. What do you call
totem?
A totem. That's what it was. And as a comic, you and I, we were talking a little bit about this before you get onto the stage. You're Mike, you're Kevin, and then when you hear, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Kevin Rogers, or please welcome Mike Lucas. Like there's a snap, something happens, and it was what James Schramko was talking about, where you step onto the field of play and you shift, and there's an alter ego almost that occurs, a zone that you step into where the stuff that affects the other guy, the other people, the other person that you are in your life is shut off. It just goes away. It doesn't affect you in that moment. Now it still comes back to you once you're off the field of play, but on that field of play, you become this alter ego. And I understood that as a comic. I really connected to that when Jane was talking about that. But then when he said, no, but you can do that in any aspect of your life. You can do that as a father, as a brother, as a son, as a writer. And I was like, wait, what? As a writer? Oh. And so now, it's interesting because I realized, I sit down, I have a real a routine that I use every day when I sit down to write, and it's very strict, and I was like, that's sort of my version of that. But then I began to mentally shift too when I said, when I sit down in this chair, I'm on the field of play, and I boom, and I focus in. And so the idea that can affect anything that you're trying to be good at or find your authority in, I just thought that was a real breakthrough. That just blew my mind. So if you're trying to figure out how to build your own authority and how to show up, begin to use that technique that James taught, which is to sort of have that thing that where you put on a hat, you get your blanket that you sit on, your blankie, your writing blankie, or whatever it is, and become that alter ego, become that guy in the zone who can catch a pass because he doesn't even think about it. His hands just go there from routine.
Right. Love it too. And I think also butterflies around the door frame is critical. I'm not having a science for that. I'm just going to say, and choo-choo trains.
Let's just say that the office is in a bit of a transition phase right now. This may or may not have been a children's room, and then because of a drastic temperature drop in the front room of the house, it got shifted, and I got stuck in the ice cold zone. It could be what happened, and some of the remnants of their thing.
You're a well-respected writer until preschool gets out, and then
I just finally got my own computer. I was using the family computer in here, so I'd have to share with the store would be flat.
You turn in a draft, and there's just the random typings and kids, stay away from my keyboard.
Excellent.
All right, I love you, dude. Thanks. Good one, man. Mike Lucas with the totems. Thank you, brother.
Totems.
All right, Addison Rice. I want to get to all these. These are too good. How are these old dudes? Brett Randall coming up next.
Yo.
There's our rock star.
Yep.
What's up, brother?
Well, all sorts, but Mike kind of stole my thing because I was going to talk about totems too.
Do it. We'll give you a version.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like it was, Todd's talk was a great.
Todd Herman.
Yep. Great way to really set the tone for me, and just looking at, I don't know, it was just really funny to see this kind of totem stuff that I've been doing, around performances, or back when I played sports, I would, have certain outfits or certain rituals I always did, and just looking at that stuff and how I've really just reserved that for I'm going to play a show, and then it's once a month I'll go through those rituals, and then I've had kind of more of this just homebody pajama lifestyle,
right,
on that usually. But then since going to Copy Chief Live, I was then without having a context for it yet, I filled a suitcase with all of my show clothes. So it was all of my sweet outfits. I'm not going to bring anything but awesome outfits. And then going there and realizing how that was, or having the talk or hearing Todd talk, and then realizing whoa, I'm just fully adorned in totems right now. And then starting to realize, really kind of track how that affected my psychology and how I was showing up, not just on stage, but then when talking to other people, and the different characteristics of myself that I was activating and accessing through those kind of rituals of just, wearing a nice shirt or wearing a nice jacket or whatever. Oh, what's up, Annie? Big Al just hit us with the chat. But so
Big Al.
yeah. But so just really looking at then, so I came back home and have still been wearing nice shirts and wearing my business rock star clothes on a daily basis, because I'm realizing whoa, I can't, I just show up way, I feel sharper, I feel more on top, more confident, all these random things.
I think especially for performers, man, it's there's something about, we're really conscious of what we wear because of how it makes us feel, right? It's and that's why I love doing the alter ego party. I love that so many people embraced it and showed up in costume, and people were a little what are you supposed to be, And the key for me was the boots. because when I was a comic, I always wore boots. You know, and
Nice.
it's just like I walk differently. I feel differently. You can't feel the same in boots as you can in Nikes, you know? And
Yeah.
man, it was so fun. I hadn't worn boots in, you know, years and years, decades, man. And so it was like really cool to just tap into that. And yeah, so clothes is a big one, man. I think that is one of the things we have to be careful of. It's great that we get to work from anywhere, but if you haven't left the house in 2 or 3 days,
Yeah.
chances are you may not be tapping into your best self. You know what I mean? Like it's nice to be able
Exactly.
to stay in pajamas till 2 or 3 sometimes, but maybe it shouldn't be routine. I know people who literally like get dressed to walk across the house to go into their office and start their day. It's like they
Yeah.
can't get there mentally without it.
Yeah. And so, I mean, that was my big takeaway of, I guess, well, I'll turn it into a best thing. So if you're in the habit of working in sweatpants and pajamas every day, then I would experiment with dressing up just for yourself. Like put on your nice clothes, put on your nice shirt. Even if like I've been having prospect calls this week where they don't even see me on the camera, but I'm still like wearing a suit jacket and like feeling, hot. So it's like just looking at how that can affect your psychology and power you up, I think is the big
Love it.
takeaway
Get in
for me.
costume.
Yep, get in costume.
Love it. Great stuff, Addison. Thank you, man. We'll talk soon, brother.
Cool, rock and roll.
Awesome. And how great was Addison at the show? Addison is the band's getting pretty good, right? Like the 3rd year doing it, and the Monkeys like really love doing it with us. Angie and Addison they're the anchors, man. The real rock stars of it that everybody leans on to. If everything's falling apart, Angie or Addison will be there to make it sound like music. Brett Randall. Yes, and how about his original song, the CCL Blues? What's up, Brett? Good to see you.
Hey, how's it going?
How are you, brother? Where are you at today?
I'm at my co-working space,
Oh, cool.
Workability.
What's it called?
Workability. It's like a small
Workability.
kind of community vibe. It's really awesome.
Yeah, chessboard back there. It looks like a cool place to hang out.
Yeah. Cool. There's literally like so many things. I'm trying to figure out which one to talk about. So I think at CCL, one of those intangible benefits you said that's just so hard to convey is like the natural meetings, networking with some of like the coolest, most impressive people, copywriters, business people in the world. From like happy hour with Laura Belgray to what I call my double Dean night, where I just hung out for like an hour with Dean Jackson and people, and then I had dinner with Dean Edelson, who's in here now, to like hanging out with all the super groupers. Like there's this natural flow if you just kind of release and hang out to meeting some of the most impressive, wise people in the world. And it's hard to convey that because it just happens so naturally.
Right.
And I got some of these just like epic nuggets of copywriting and life just from just like hanging out, going up, talking to people, and then sitting and learning from some super smart people.
That's awesome, bro. I love it.
So I guess the if then would be, if you want to meet some of the most impressive, personal, down to earth people in the world. One is maybe I made like a couple notes of like who I definitely wanted to connect with, and then like I wanted to meet Laura Belgray. So when I saw her, I was like, even if I had like butterflies in my stomach, just go talk to her. She's a human. She's cool. And number 2, also leave room just for hanging out naturally, because that's where some of the best like evenings and meetings happen, just from flowing naturally. Yeah,
that's a great one, dude. Thank you, man. I will add to that because it's not always comfortable, right? Like, you have these things built up in your head, and if it doesn't go well, it's a bummer. You walk up to somebody you really want to meet and have a good conversation with. But didn't you find that if you would just, what would you say? Like, would you have like an opening or like oh, I'm just going to start here? Would you say, hey, I'm a fan, listen to your stuff? Or would you just say, hey, where'd you fly in from? How casual were you with it?
I'm a huge fan of super casual networking. I think a lot of people overthink it because everyone's just humans in the end. So just and especially this is a very human event. So I literally never go into a conversation with an agenda. I just talk about, if they just flew in from New York, like talk about New York, like something like, what did you just love about today? Just keep it natural.
Yeah. Exactly. That's the easiest thing to do. There's no magic way to start it. You know, it's just, like you said, being human, because they want to engage too. And if you just find a common topic, like how was today? What was your favorite? Where'd you come in from? Oh, you know, then you're off and running, man. And then I always say, like, those first couple of minutes, the reason small talk is so valuable is because we're like dogs sniffing each other out. Is it safe here? Does this person want to engage with me? Yes, yes, yes. Once we tick those boxes, it's like, now we can kind of take it anywhere because we've established that. But that needs to happen.
Yeah.
Otherwise, things feel a little off kilter, right? So awesome, bro. Well, it was great having you there. It was so fun to acknowledge your win and learn more about, you know, your approach to the Beat Kevin's Control ad. And I know you made a lot of good connections, and think you'll probably be reporting some cool wins pretty soon too. So
For sure. Yeah. Thanks for everything.
Yeah. Thanks, Brett. All right. Talk soon, brother.
See ya.
Awesome. Thank you, everybody, for that, man. It was, special. And again, I think you can see why, like, people just brought that energy, no agenda, but to be present. And, you know, maybe like a list of, I hope I meet this person. I want to meet that person. I'm going to force myself to say hello to this person. And then next thing you know, they're a buddy and they're like, hey, come to lunch with us, or let's have dinner, or, you know, whatever it is, man. It's a relationship, human connection. Can't beat it. All right, cool. Angela, thank you for waiting. We're running just a bit late, but I want to, we'll get you full time. Usually try to wrap at the top of the hour, but I want to make sure we go deep into your hot seat. So if you can do, there you go. We'll see Angela in a second here. There we are.
Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you. Yeah, it looks like you're a little frozen on screen, but maybe that'll come around in a second here. How are you? I'm
great. How are you?
Good.
Thank you for doing this.
Yeah, my pleasure. And thank you for putting yourself out there and asking about it. So I'm going to bring on Rachel as well. Great Rachel Mazza, my co-coach in Escape Velocity, and someone I've been working with more and more. And I just love Rachel's energy and her wisdom. So Rachel is very good at helping people with prospect calls, with, you know, things we do and don't say to position ourselves well and help us land the gig. So hi, Rachel. How are you?
Hi.
Hi,
Hi, Angela.
Hi.
Good to see you.
We've been chatting a little bit online.
Yeah, we have.
Cool. So, Angela, I'm going to let you tell everybody, give us some context for the scenario while I dig up your thread, and we'll take a look.
Okay, so this is my proposal that I just created for a client that I accidentally got. She is my fertility acupuncture, and she is trying to generate more clients and more leads. And so she asked me how I did when I got back from Florida, what I did. And when I told her, you know, I help people to write in a way that generates clients. And I said it nicer than that, but it was still messy. And she basically said, I want to hire you. Let's get going. And I'm like, all right. So I put this together for her, came up with a couple ideas, and it's kind of a lot because a lot of this is kind of outside of my capacity as far as the building, but I think I can figure it out. It might drive me crazy. I might end up bald at the end of it. But so I put this proposal together to do kind of like a landing page, a lead magnet like Rachel Kraft had talked about, and just some options for her to do like other things down the line, email sequence. And yeah.
So let me ask you, what was the conversation prior to you putting this proposal together? Like, did she ask for all of this, or did she say, like, show me what it looks like to create a marketing plan together?
So basically she was saying that she was having some problems with her business partner, and her business partner took over all of the stuff and made it just for her. So they have to get their own clients.
I see.
And when she asked me about Florida, she's like, oh, what is it that you do? And I told her that it's the copywriting, and, you know, I help people to generate the clients. She's like, I actually need that. I need you to help me with that. I said, I could absolutely help you with that. I can create something for free. And I asked her, do you have an email list? And she said, yes. I said, are you using it? She said, no. I said, well, okay, perfect. I said, do you have anything that you give for free? Like, any kind of like freebie online or anything? She said, no. I said, okay, we can generate that. Reactivate the people that you currently have. And, you know, she gives out free referrals to people, you know, free appointments to people who refer, and she has free consultations. So I'm like, all of this is really good. We can use this.
But there's no details in the conversation about what it would all look like. So I guess what I'm getting at is when the proposal you've created, this is going to be the first she sees of all of this.
Yes, we have talked about it a little bit, as we had literally talked about it. Like I said, this was an accident while she was sticking me with needles before she was about to go to her next patient.
Yep.
So,
so this is here, and this is the proposal.
Yes.
Real quickly, and we can just want to give it an overview. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of stuff, but it looks like it's very cleanly laid out, explains everything very well. So that's fantastic. I have some thoughts, but I want to hear from Rachel first. What are you thinking off the top of your head, Rachel?
First thought was congratulations, because this is quadrillion million better than my first proposal.
Yeah, mine too. Sure.
I was like, hey, you want to do a thing?
Yeah, mine was an email. I'm like, okay. Oh, how much?
I think that you have done a lot of work here that you will be able to use and will help you as you move through this project. So you've essentially created an entire project plan for this large project, which is amazing. I think it might be a little bit much to give them up front because it sounds like she doesn't have a fantastic understanding about the intricacies of marketing. So it might be a little bit overwhelming. So what I would suggest is take everything you've done here and keep it, condense it so that she understands what the process would look like, just really quick bullet points. And then when she says yes, you can use all these, this nice outline that you've created with stage 1 and stage 2. You can send that to her after she's paid and ready to get started, where you can say, oh, okay, so that's great. Here's what to expect next. And so you kind of give her those next steps each time you're ready to move into the next stage. And I think what you said about her email list, that might be the easiest place to get her some quick wins. Yeah. I mean, you heard Dean Jackson talking about that 9-word email thing, right? I mean, wouldn't it be awesome if you would get her a couple of clients right away just by sending that out to her list?
Absolutely.
And that would be something that would be super easy for her to say yes to.
Digest, yeah.
And in this, one thing about the pricing, I love how you've broken this down into each of the segments, but I would caution you, and just as something that I had to be reminded of recently, is if you itemize your invoice like that, it makes it super easy for clients to pick apart your invoice and say, okay, well, I don't want to pay that $300. I don't want to pay that $500. And those might be things that you really need to do a great job for her. So I would say, instead of breaking down each individual piece, just say, maybe here's option 1 and it includes all this. Option 2 includes all this. And you can give her some options of different budgets, but maybe don't itemize each item in that package in terms of what that costs, because that just lets them just pick and choose what they feel like they won't feel like paying for, rather than what they need.
Yeah, they start to look at it like an oil change.
Yeah, get rid of the mushrooms on my pizza.
In auto garage. Yeah, it's like, I don't need a new filter. I'm good with it. Okay, yeah. So Angela, I think that I agree, and I think look at it like this. Like, and again, I'm with Rachel. First of all, like, amazing job of thinking this through. It's so valuable to do that for yourself, to know what if they want everything and this is a perfect match, what is everything I want to do for this person, and be excited and know the price of it and all those things. But my concern is that with her, this being her first conversation around this at all, this is going to blow her mind and give her way too much friction to have to work through. So definitely, like Bailey said, what we call in RFL a step 1 service, which is going to this proposal, what's the very first thing you would need to do to get started that you would charge for, right? So, and I think it's a smart one: market position discovery and message recommendation. So it'd be like, you could call that maybe like a branding audit or a messaging audit or something like that, and say, listen, the first thing I'd love to do with you is just let's meet at the coffee shop and let's sit down, and I'm going to ask you a series of questions. I'm going to grill you about the business and find out what makes it unique and different from your competitors. What is the advantage that you already have and might not realize, right? How are we going to set you apart from your now ex-partner and really position you uniquely in the business? And once we have that and we feel good about that, everything else stems from there. So it's kind of like, if we're writing a story, let's decide the ending, and then we can start to write the story together. And I think that will excite her because she has all the answers to that. She doesn't have to ponder if she needs that or not. Every business needs that. You can mention that I see so many businesses like skipping this step alone, and then everything they do from there is less effective. So you can really sell this simple step one thing, and all it has to be is you bringing your marketing intelligence to a conversation that is otherwise very natural to her.
And one thing I just want to note is all of this that you've laid out here is amazing. So don't feel like you've wasted any work here. This is actually, I'm sure a lot of freelancers do this. I do this, where this is exactly what I do behind the scenes. And because I don't know, a lot of writers, I think it's very similar. We think by writing, right? So we think by writing it all down and making lists and spelling it out. And then what I do is I have this document behind the scenes, and I just take it and summarize it in the proposal for the client. So this is like your back end thinking, and now you just need to summarize it to
let's step her into it. In that way, if when you start small like that, if she's like, hey, that's kid stuff, I'm ready to rock and roll, let's like, all right, fine, like, here it is. I mean, it's there. So you want it either way. And in fact, just to jump on what Rachel said, it's like, this is the step that freelancers miss so often. They just go, oh, this person asked me for this thing, let me make up what I call it this, and I charge that, and hopefully that's good for them. But when you do this, it's like, now you're fully aware of, it's almost like, I think of like, I want to say like, it's like knowing a magic trick, but you only reveal a little bit of it because, so does that feel right, Angela? Like,
it totally does. And I appreciate that. I was trying to, I think Rachel, you're totally right. I was putting everything down here thinking, how am I thinking this through? What is it going to look like? But then on the flip side, it was like the confused mind always says no. So I didn't want to just give this to her and then be like, here you go, let's have a conversation, and then overload you with everything that you have no idea about.
But you needed to do this in order to understand what was there. So that's perfect. And then you just need to present her what she'll understand. Right. And one thing that's worked really well for me is we always have this tendency, we want to explain, right? We want to explain. So one thing that you could do is send a super, super simple proposal and then create a video. So Loom is free, or Jing is free. These are all like screen capture softwares. You can even use Zoom like Kevin's doing now. And just say, hey, this is Angela. Just wanted to walk you through this real quick. And you could literally walk her through the proposal on the video, show your face. And I found that's a really great tool for me to close deals, is showing your face, reminding them who you are and that you're a real person, and just in a friendly way, walk them through the proposal so that there's no ambiguity for them.
I like that.
That's a cool idea too, because of the existing relationship is a little flipped. You're the patient,
right?
And you're the one with your butt out getting needles put in it, right? So I don't know where they put the needles, but
in my belly, but that's okay.
Okay, sorry, but that would make more sense. Let's not bring my problems into this. But so again, like, it's just kind of a cool flip of the script of like, Angela, the marketing expert, now is taking control of the conversation and making it feel just as cool as it does when you're together other times, but now you're in control, right? You're in charge.
Awesome.
Yep.
Cool. I love that, because I was trying to figure out how I could put like together, like, do I have to design a whole like video of like, not of me. I was thinking of doing it like a, one of those step-by-step kind of things to automate. But I like it better what you're saying, to show her that it's me and do it for her specifically so she can see.
Yeah, because you've already done that with this, right?
Right.
So
yeah, just keep it to 1 minute. It doesn't have to be anything that takes your whole afternoon either.
Right, for sure.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Cool. Anything else, Angela?
How about these prices? Did the prices look kind of decent? I realized I was kind of messing with them as I was doing it. Like, I think I need to up that. I think I need to up that or down it, but
Yeah. Look, my default on pricing is, look, it's the hardest thing we do because so much head trash enters into it. All
Yes.
these other conversations that I like to say are not relevant, but they are, because it's a personal thing. It's our own self-worth enters into it. There's a lot of stuff. And so that's why in RFL, we do a thing called backstage pricing, which is essentially, if you kind of come up with what your revenue goal, you break it down by essentially what is your hourly fee, and you start to base less on monetary value to the client and more on what do you need to get paid an hour, and how long do you think it's going to take you to create each of these things, and coming up with the amount that way. This is not something you have to share. This is your backstage process. That's why I call it backstage pricing, right? It helps you have, I think, a more logistical framework for why you're creating the prices, rather than you heard that's what people charge. Or so
Right.
that's when you say things like, oh, I feel like I need to up that or whatever. Look, it's the first gig. You just want it to go well. If you get, there's so much value in the experience you're going to get if you can do all these services with this client, that it's hard to even put the right value on what that means to you. So as long as she's investing enough to really see the value and stay plugged into and implement the stuff that you create for her, and you don't feel like you gave it away, there should be no regret about finding out that somebody down the road could charge twice as much for that, because this is your experience, and early on, the experience is far more valuable than dollars.
Absolutely. That's true. Well, thank you. I appreciate
All right.
it. Thank
Great.
you.
Thank you. This is really cool to do one like this. And again, like, kudos, man. Like, this is so comprehensive, and like, this is brought your business to such another level on its own. If nothing happens from here, you've done a great job of advancing.
And share the updated version in the forum and tag me. I'll be glad to take a look.
Okay, cool. Yay. Thanks, guys.
Awesome. All right. Thank you, Angela. Thank you, Rachel. Thank you, everybody, for a great Chief Chat. Thanks for all the great energy around Copy Chief Live. Can't wait till next year. And a quick heads up to be watching your email, because Rachel and I, again, some of you were at day 3, are really excited about the Freelancer's Journey timeline that we created. We've had a lot of amazing feedback about it, and we're going to do another follow-up webinar just about that to go deeper into it. And that's going to, do we know the date of that? That's going to be December 11th?
That is December 11th, not today, which it was scheduled for after this call. It is not today. It's December 11th. We're going to schedule a little bit more time because we've had so many questions about it. So we really want to deep dive into your questions about the timeline and the different phases. So schedule that for December 11th. You should have an email coming or in your inbox now. Yeah,
you'll be hearing more about it, but definitely because this fits right into that, right? So this is really cool. All right. Thanks, everybody. Appreciate you. See you on the next one. Bye-bye. Have a great weekend.